Greetings, physics freaks. This is Mr. Resentis again. I'm in chapter 8, and I'm talking about fluid pressure. Now, Pascal is the one who is credited with the formula that we use for fluid pressure. Pressure applied to a fluid on a closed container is transmitted equally to every point of the fluid and to the walls of the container. What does that mean? Well, it means that when you apply a pressure within a closed system, at one point that pressure is transmitted equally throughout the system. So basically, we should back up and talk about what is pressure. All right, so pressure is force over area. All right, and the units for force over area are pascals. PA, or pascals. So the force in one spot is equal to the force in another spot for a given closed system. And the nice thing about this is that if you put a fluid in here, fluids are not compressible. They just so if you were to apply a force here, it's transmitted, and it's directly transmitted to this piston. So it's a lot like a lever. And what you could do is you could talk about the mechanical advantage here. The mechanical advantage of applying a longer force here and it being transmitted to a smaller but more powerful force there, and because it's equal, the pressure is equal, and pressure is force over area. All right. So what's valuable about this is that we could say that the pressure, and I'll just call pressure P. Pressure in one spot is equal to pressure in another spot. So pressure here is equal to pressure here. Pressure, as we just said, is force over area. So force 1 in this area here, we'll call this force 1, is equal to the force 2 over area. My apologies, bear with me. Area 1, this is a 1 here, sorry if you can't read it, over area 2. So let me rewrite that formula. So force in one area equals force 2 over area 2. All right? Because force over area is pressure. All right? So let's have a look. In a hydraulic lift, a 620 Newton force is exerted on a 0.2 meter piston. All right, so we'll call this force 1, and we'll call this area 1. So we'll just say 620 newtons is applied to a 0.2 meters squared. In order to support a weight that is placed on a 2 meter piston. All right, so some weight, I'll put a question mark there, and this piston is 2.0 meters. All right. Now, how much pressure is exerted on the narrow piston? Well, pressure is force over area. So let's get force first. So how much weight, and that'll be the force. Weight can the piston lift? All right. So what we'll have to do is we just have to solve for the question mark, then divide this, and we'll get our area. All right. So if we take the 620, we take the 620 newtons and divide it by 0.2, we get 3100 equals question mark over 2.0 meters. Now we want to solve for question mark, so we just divide by, we would just take that number and multiply it by 2. And then so the question mark equals, because what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this, and then we have question mark is our pressure, it equals 6,200 newtons. Alright? Now what we could do is we could check that. We could check that to see if that makes any sense. We're basically saying 620 newtons over 0.2 meters squared equals 6,200 newtons over 2.0 meters squared. All right. So let's see if that makes any sense. 0.2. This would be 3,100 equals 3,100. All right. So our equation does work. So that's how you could test to make sure that these two equal one another. So all I did was I just solved for the unknown in this proportion. All right, and so 6,200 is our force. Now, how much weight can it? Well, weight is in newtons, so it's 6,200 is our weight, and the pressure is just force over area. So all I'd have to do is take the 6,200 and divide it by 2, and that'll give us the pressure. Okay, so running out of room here, the pressure equals 6,200 divided by 2. That's because it's 2 meters, and that is 3,100. And remember, pressure we use pascals. All right. And the 6,200 equals the weight. All right. Let's try one more. A 1.5 meter wide by 2.5 meter wide. 1.5 meter wide by 2.5 meter long waterbed weighs 1,025 newtons. Find the pressure that is exerted on the floor. Well, we just said that pressure equals force over area. All right, so here's our force, and here's our area. All right. So if we multiply this looks like what, 3.75. So it's just 1025 over 3.775, and this is meters squared, and this is newtons. Then we have 273 pascals would be the pressure that's being applied to the floor. All right.